But the last 2 weeks were one of the greatest of my life. Getting to cover the greatest sporting spectacle from ground zero is any sports reporter's dream. And I got to experience that for the last few days. In the next half an hour, I'll take you on a journey of how the Olympic Games in Paris panned out. We will celebrate the highs and examine the lows very, very carefully. So let's start with the India story. 5 bronze medals and 1 silver, a total of 6 medals. That was India's campaign at Paris 2024. Not quite matching the highs of 7 medals that we got in Tokyo, but coming so close. Who knows, it could still be 7 if the Vinish medal comes our way, but even if it doesn't, the likes of Manu Bhaker, Neeraj Chopra and the hockey team gave us enough goosebumps during the course of the Games.
India's account at the Paris Olympics opened thanks to 22-year-old Manu Bhaker. In the 10-meter air pistol event, she finished third and became the youngest Indian shooter to win a medal at the Olympics. Her stature at the Olympics grew when she bagged another bronze, this time in the mixed team event alongside Sarabjot Singh.
आई थिंक हार के बाद आपको जीत की वैल्यू पता लगती है और मैं ये अक्सर कहती हूँ कि जो आपको जीत सिखाती है उससे कई ज़्यादा आपको हार सिखा देती है. सो मुझे वैल्यू पता है अब कि जब भी मैं कोई कंपटीशन जीतूंगी ना तो मुझे समझ में आता है कि इतने एफर्ट्स लगे हैं इसके पीछे और उसके बाद जाकर ये मेडल मुझे मिला है, तो मुझे बहुत ग्रैटिट्यूड फील होता है और आई नो द फीलिंग, आई नो द वैल्यू ऑफ द मेडल दैट आई वेयर.
Next to enter the history books was another shooter. Swapnil Kusale, with his superb effort in the men's 50-meter rifle 3 positions event, secured third place as he became the first Indian shooter to win a medal in the 3 positions event. He was 6th in the standings after the kneeling positions round, but staged a terrific comeback to bag a bronze.
I love to do shootings all the time and उसके वजह से सब कुछ आज है and जैसे स्टार्ट मेरा शूटिंग का करियर का हुआ था तब से जो शूटिंग के थ्रू सब कुछ मिला है and very thankful to shooting and because उसको इतना लगाव हो गया मुझे कि आज तक मुझे छोड़ नहीं पाता कि मुझे छुट्टी अगर मेरे कोच ने दी है मधुपल मैम ने 2 दिन की या 4 दिन की तो मैं बस 1 दिन या 2 दिन में ले सकता हूँ. उसके बाद में मुझे रेंज पे जाके सबके साथ मिलजुल के रहना पड़ता है या रहने की मेरी इच्छा होती है.
After a long wait of 52 years, the Indian hockey team brought Olympic glory to the nation in back-to-back Olympic Games. In a nerve-wracking match against Spain for the bronze medal, India emerged victors with a 2-1 scoreline. The win wasn't an easy one, especially as India were asked to make a comeback in the match.
The last moment थी, last match था. मैच से पहले हम डिसाइड किए थे कि खाली हाथ नहीं वापस जाएंगे अगले, तो इसलिए वो मेंटालिटी थी एंड सभी प्लेयरों ने अपना बेस्ट किया उस मैच में एंड हम मेडल जीत कर.
Neeraj consistent Chopra wasn't going to come back from Paris without a medal, and he did not. For the second straight Olympics, India's best medal belonged to Neeraj as he finished with a silver in the javelin event in Paris. He registered his season's best throw in the final as he became the first Indian track and field athlete to win successive medals at the biggest sporting event.
मेरी नज़रों में अभी भी काफ़ी कुछ बाकी है और वो जब तक नहीं होगा, जब तक शरीर साथ देगा, मैं ऐसे ही और ज़्यादा मेहनत करता रहूँगा और अपनी कंट्री को जितना ऊपर लेके जा सके और ज़्यादा लेके जाएंगे. और मुझे लगता है कि अभी काफ़ी कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें बाकी हैं जो करनी है और वो चाहे डिस्टेंस लगा लो, बिल्कुल मेडल हम बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन जेवलिन में क्या है कि हमारे पास डिस्टेंस है, तो वो डिस्टेंस वाला कंसिस्टेंसी जो है अच्छी बात है कि मेरी 88-89 तक बनी रही, लेकिन अभी टाइम आ गया उस कंसिस्टेंसी को बढ़ाने का और ये चीज़ बदलेगी अभी.
Aman Shehrawat was the only male Indian wrestler to compete at the Olympics, and so a lot weighed on the young shoulders of the 21-year-old. But Aman was up to the challenge as he became the youngest Indian to win a medal at the Olympics. In a display of sheer dominance in the bronze medal match, he defeated his opponent with a comfortable scoreline of 13-5.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है जी। मतलब सुबह शाम उसको देखते थे, हाँ भाई वो यही लेना है, तो मतलब आज ये ले ही लिया आखिर में। कुश्ती में बाउट में ये यहाँ से फूट गया था, चेपी लग रही है, ये हाथ से ये तो ऐसा, ये तो कोई नॉर्मल चीज़ है, ज़्यादा वो नहीं है। ये तो कति बस अड़की इस मेडल के आगे तो बस कति मामूली सी है ये। पहले तो पेरिस का लग रहा था, अगले और भी उसके 2028 का लगाएंगे, तो फिर अब की बार तो चलो ओलंपिक में तो मेडल मिल गया, पर अगली बार गोल्ड के लिए लड़ेंगे।
All right, looking back at our special, if I ever write a book about my I was there moments, Arshad Nadeem's jaw-dropping throw of 92.97 meters would always find a place in my memoirs, simply because it was a throw of quite literally gigantic proportions. There were others who created those wow moments during the 2 weeks of the Olympic Games, from Noah Lyles to Harman Duplantis. These international superstars ensured that the 33rd edition of the Summer Games will be remembered for a long time to come.
Breaking a world record takes some doing. For America's Sydney McLaughlin-Levron, that is child's play. After all, the 25-year-old has now lowered the world record 6 times. In Paris, she defended her Olympic title and broke her own record, powering the 400-meter hurdles in just 50.37 seconds.
I also remember when Dalilah broke the world record back in 2019, and I was just baffled, seeing 52.2, and we've taken it so far, and I have to credit these ladies next to me for helping do that. I think this is an event that it wasn't very popular, but we made it very popular very quickly, and I do think 49 is possible, and I do think the talent sitting in front of you can do that, and I think we push each other to do that and get better and improve and find ways to lower these times that we for so long thought were impossible. I don't know when it's possible, but I do think it's out there for sure.
An Olympic record and Pakistan's first ever athletics gold. Arshad Nadeem made history at the men's javelin final. On a balmy Paris evening, Nadeem came out and hurled a javelin 92.97 meters far, smashing the Olympic record. Neeraj Chopra did push himself to the limit, but the magnitude of Nadeem's achievement made it an insurmountable task for the Indian.
जैसे मैंने क्वालिफाई राउंड में पहली थ्रो पे क्वालिफाई किया, और मेरे ख्याल में ये सेकंड टाइम मैंने पहली थ्रो पे 86 प्लस की। इससे पहले मैंने कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में पहली थ्रो की थी, तो वहाँ से मैं और भी होपफुल हुआ कि इंशाल्लाह पेरिस ओलंपिक्स फाइनल में इंशाल्लाह जो है ना वो अपना बेस्ट करूँगा। मैंने अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अपनी बेस्ट की, तो रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक किया। जो मैंने 88 पॉइंट समथिंग मैंने जो थ्रो की, वो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मेरी बड़ी अच्छी थ्रो थी। उसमें मेरे ख्याल में थोड़ा सा मैं बाजू को दबा गया, वरना वो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह 95 मीटर भी थ्रो हो सकती थी।
The long wait was finally over for Novak Djokovic. After nearly 2 decades of tennis that required superhuman level of consistency, the Serb added an Olympic gold to his incredible tennis resume. The 37-year-old was visibly emotional after his straight sets victory over Spain's Carlos Alcaraz.
First time of asking at age 37, but my 5th Olympic Games. 3 out of 4 Olympic Games I was losing in the semi-finals, and I won bronze medal in Beijing, which was my first Olympic Games, and just so much pressure, so much expectations, and coming into this year's Olympic Games, of course, as well. So when I won the semi-finals, I really felt a huge relief, and I think that helped me also come into this match with a bit more confidence and kind of swinging freer to to win a medal, and I really didn't feel like I had something to lose.
The pole vaulter the fans called Mondo really put on a show. After his heroics in Tokyo, another Olympic gold medal already was his, and so was another world record. The 24-year-old Duplantis cleared 6.25 meters, which is 20 feet and 6 inches, to break the world record for the 9th time. But the first time on the sport's grandest stage. The fans were left in awe of Sweden's latest history-making leap into the pole vault pit.
I guess I've been fortunate enough to do it, several times now, but it's every time the feeling is kind of the same. I think this was probably even more extreme version of the feeling too. But when I'm going over the bar, it's just like, yeah, it doesn't feel real in a way. So that was more just kind of hysteria and just freaking out.
World champion Noah Lyles flew his way past the finish line in just 9.79 seconds to win the gold medal in the men's 100-meter final. The race has its fair share of drama, having one of the closest finishes in modern Olympic history. It was just 5,000th of a second that separated Lyles from Jamaica's Kishane Thompson, and in the end, the American came out on top by the barest of margins.
I saw my name, I was like, I didn't do this against a slow crowd or a field. I did this against the best of the best on the biggest stage with the biggest pressure. And seeing that name, I was like, oh my gosh, there it is. And I wasn't even entered in the 100 in 2021. So that was, here I am, first Olympics in the 100, going around now the Olympic champion and, having that title of not just at World Championships, but at the Olympics of World's Fastest Man.
Okay, while we celebrate Paris Olympics 2024, I can't help but pinpoint a few shortcomings too. They were far from ideal games. There were things that I witnessed personally from the athletes struggling in the Paris heat without air conditioners, not some top quality food provided to a lot of athletes there. Other than that, I got to see the Seine River from up close, and at that moment when you looked at it, you were a bit baffled that they took the decisions to decide to have some of those athletes swim in that river that did seem dirty on the face of it. Paris 2024 was filled with controversies overall, from Vinesh Fogart being denied a place in the final to some massive row over Algerian boxer's gender. What we are doing in our next report is looking at some of the biggest controversies in the just concluded Olympic Games.
The start to the 2024 Olympics was a rocky one. Just a couple of days in, and athletes started to complain about the lack of facilities at the Games Village. With temperatures soaring to 35 degrees Celsius in the city, the heat became difficult for athletes to bear at the Games Village, which had no air conditioning. Many members of the US contingent even moved to hotels as a result.
जिस दिन गर्मी है उस दिन तो बहुत गर्मी रहा था. सभी एथलेट्स के लिए बहुत मुश्किल होता है जब दिन भर ग्राउंड में पसीना बहा के रूम जाके भी गर्म हो और अच्छे से रिकवरी ना हो.
The iconic Seine River of Paris was selected for a few swimming events, but the river water ran into a controversy over it being dirty and not safe for athletes. The concerns resulted in practice sessions getting cancelled for a few days, but eventually everything went ahead as per plan. There was a huge gender row amidst all the Olympic action as Algerian boxer Imen Khalif faced allegations of gender change. The IOC faced the heat for allowing her to compete despite being banned by the International Boxing Association. All doubts about her sexuality were put to rest by the IOC, and she eventually won the gold as well.
As for whether I qualify or not, or whether I'm a woman or not, I have made many statements in the media. I'm fully qualified to take part in this competition. I'm a woman. Like any other woman, I was born a woman. I lived as a woman. I competed as a woman. There's no doubt about that. There are enemies, enemies of success. This is what I call them. These are enemies of success, and of course, that also gives my success a special taste because of these attacks.
The biggest controversy concerning an athlete came from India after Vinesh Fogart was disqualified from the final of the 50 kilogram freestyle wrestling event as she was found to be overweight by just 100 grams. The countless pleas of the athlete and the IOA did not change things, and she was denied a medal after having qualified for it fair and square as far as the final was concerned. The matter, though, has been taken to the Court of Arbitration for Sport.
We have to respect the rules. I'm so sad that what happened to her. She had overweight, a very small one, but the rules are rules, and the weighing is public. All the athletes are there, and it's impossible to let someone to compete who doesn't make the weight.
And lastly, Australian hockey player Tom Craig ran into trouble for buying cocaine from a drug dealer in central Paris. He was taken into arrest by the police, but the Australian Olympic Committee later said in a statement that he was released without charge and given a warning by the judge.
And finally, the Olympics gave the fans plenty of moments to savor, but we have managed to zero in on 5 moments that sent the internet into meltdown. From the calmness and simplicity of an athlete to a medalist not knowing whether to bite the medal or not. Here are the moments that went viral during Paris 2024.
China's Zhu Yaqian came up with unarguably the cutest moment of the Olympics. She did well to get to the podium, but got a bit confused when she saw fellow winners have a bite of the medal. Perplexed, she too tried doing the same, but only put the medal on her lips rather than sinking her teeth into her new silverware.
My Olympic journey has been very pleasant and satisfying because this is my first ever Olympic Games and I got silver medal. I think this can be considered so far the highest point of my career. Going back, I will regroup, I will recover and hopefully have a better restart heading to LA. Hopefully next time I'll be better.
Brazilian surfer Gabriel Medina caught one of the day's biggest waves, but that didn't deter him from setting an Olympic record with a score of 9.90. However, he didn't make the waves on social media for that. It was for a photo of his that went viral. As he emerged out of the wave, he raises his arm towards the sky, index finger pointed upwards, and his surfboard tethered to his ankle.
Yeah, that was my goal, to get the medal. Talking about Teahupo, sometimes it's like that, the ocean picks who she wants. But I've had so many great waves here in the past few years. Chopo already gave me so many titles, good heats, I can't complain about it.
Breaking made its debut as an Olympic sport this year, and those taking part in it were supposed to capture everyone's attention. However, that's not how it panned out for Australia's Rachel Gunn. The internet burst out laughing seeing her moves as she squirmed on the floor and held her chin with one hand. The loudest cheers are usually reserved for the athletes, but Bob the Cap Catcher was an exception at the Olympics. After one of the swimmers lost their cap in the pool, it was him who came out of nowhere and retrieved the cap amid loud cheers from the spectators. And lastly, the coolest athlete to come out of the Olympics was Turkey's Yusuf Dikesh, an instant sensation for his calmness, simplicity, and nonchalant poise The silver medalist even inspired other athletes to copy his pose.
At that moment, everyone says I seemed calm, but actually storms were raging inside me. It is very hard to describe the pressure, the tension. The calmness is just a look reflecting outside, but the reality has nothing to do with it.
I'm afraid that's all the time that we have in our final edition of Go for Glory. I hope you enjoyed our Olympic coverage as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. So one final time, Nikhil Nas signing off in typical Yusuf Didak style. You guys take care. We'll see you in another 4 years for our Olympic programming.